Okay, friends, let's start discussing the topic for the today's session. We are going to discuss lenses and their types in greater details, and parallelly, we are going to think about where we apply them or what are the practical applications of the lenses, basically. Okay, so let's start with the concept of how we define a lens. When we talk about lens, friends, you can see it's a transparent material, everybody knows that. It has to be bounded by two surfaces on both the sides. Either both the surfaces can be, curved, or one may be curved and one may be plane. Depending upon it, we can classify the lenses into different types. So here are the different types of lenses which are being shown on your screen. Hopefully I am audible and the screen is properly visible to everybody, all those who are attending for the first time also. So please let me know in the chat box if the conversation is clear, and you take a screenshot of this, all those who are attending it for the first time, because these will serve as notes for you people. Okay, thanks a lot for the feedback, especially who's attending it for the first time. See to it that you take the screenshot of it so that they serve as notes for you people. Okay, so this is how we define lens, friends, and most of you say done. Okay, so let's move ahead then. Okay, different types of lenses then. Convex lens, the first type would be convex lens. So how do we define convex lens? If the parallel beam of light is incident on the lens and all the rays they converge to a particular point called as focus, then such lens would be called as a converging lens. So let's talk about the different types of converging lenses. That means the convex lenses. So either it can be a double convex lens, also called as biconvex. In this type, you can see both the surfaces of the lenses are convex. If you observe this picture, so both the surfaces are convex in nature, you can see. So such kind of lenses we will call them as double convex. Please make a note of it before I show you the next type. So most of you say done. So let's move ahead then. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's move ahead. You can see the second type can be plano-convex lens. That means one side of the lens would be plane. You can see one side is plane and the second side is convex. Okay, so such type of lens we will call it as plano-convex. The third type can be concavo-convex. It means one side of the lens would be convex, whereas the other side would be concave. So you can just have a look at this picture basically. What's the feature of convex lens? That it is thicker at the center and thin at the edges. Okay, so this is something which we need to remember and recall time and again whenever we come across situations where we solve problems on lenses. Please make a note of this and then we move ahead. Yeah, so most of you say done. Let's move ahead then. All right. The second type of lens can be a concave lens. Now, what is a concave lens? So basically, when all the rays move parallel to the optical axis, you can say, the rays appear to diverge from a single point. Such lenses, we call them as diverging lenses, or the other name is concave lenses. Now, these concave lenses are also of three types. Let's talk about the first type, where we talk about both the surfaces of the lens concave. We call it as double concave. Okay. Either we call this type of lens as double concave, or you also call such kind of lens as biconcave, friends. So when we talk about double concave or biconcave lens, a diagram will make things very clear over here. Here you can see both the surfaces of the lenses are concave in nature. Such lenses we will categorize it under biconcave or double convex lens. Please make a note of it. And once you are done with it, let me know so that I move ahead. Okay. So most of you say done. Let's move ahead then. Second type of concave lens which you come across is plano-concave lens. What does that mean? One surface would be concave and other surface would be plane in nature, something like this. Okay. You can see in the diagram or the picture, one side is plane and the other side is concave in this case. The next type is convexo-concave lens. That means one side would be convex and other side would be concave in this case. What's the distinguishing feature of such kind of lens? It's thin at the center and thicker at the edge, unlike convex lenses. Make a note of it and let me know so that we move ahead. Yeah, so most of you say you are done with it. Okay, so move ahead then. You're done with it. Okay, hopefully done. Just give me a moment. So basically, you can just classify the lenses into different types using this single slide. You can see all the three types for convergent lenses being shown in the slide, and on the right hand side, all the three types for the divergent lenses. So please make a note of it. These will serve as notes for you people when you prepare for exams. Okay. Yeah, fine. So please make a note of this. This slide is showing you the type of lenses. Now, these type of lenses we would be using in some applications basically. So we are going to study where we, use these lenses in greater details subsequently. Okay. So most of you say done. Just a minute. Okay. Just give me a moment before I share another slide with you. Yeah. Now let's talk about the power of these lenses. Okay. How we estimate power of a lens. So this is a very interesting and important feature of a lens basically. Okay. How we estimate power of a lens. So can we say is the ability of lens to converge or diverge? So how, what degree it converges all the rays, or to what degree it diverges all the rays of light? Basically, that is being considered under this topic, power of lens. And technically, if you want to define it, it will be measured as the reciprocal of its focal length, obviously taken in meter. Okay, one need not forget that. So you can see reciprocal of focal length taken in meter is also called as power of lens. And the unit for power of lens, we all know it is diopter and denoted by capital D. Okay, and the focal length specifically has to be expressed in meter. Okay, so can I say power of the lens is 1 diopter if the focal length of the lens is 1 meter? So that's how the analogy goes. Okay. Now, when we talk about the power of converging lens means convex lens. We have to consider it as positive. Why? Because you would be measuring the focus on the other side of the lens. That means on the right hand side. And therefore, if the focal length is positive, then obviously the power has to be positive. Whereas for a diverging lens, obviously the focus is on the left hand side of the lens, you can see. and therefore it is considered negative or taken negative. Now if focal length itself is taken negative, obviously the power will also come out to be negative. Therefore for diverging lens or concave lens, to be more specific, the power would be negative, whereas in case of converging lenses or convex lens, you can say the power would be always positive friends. Okay. Now you can very well understand here. You need to understand that if you break the lens into two parts, basically, two parts means two surfaces being separated. So two curved surfaces are being separated. And I just want the power of a single spherical surface. Then that power would be given by, okay, mu2 minus mu1 divided by r, where r is the radius of curvature of that spherical surface. Whereas mu2 and mu1, so mu2 stands for the refractive index of the lens, and mu1 would stand for the refractive index of the medium in which the lens is placed. So that medium can be either water or it can be air, depending upon the situation. Please make a note of this and then let me know before we move ahead. Yeah, people will say done, so good. We'll move ahead then. Let's move ahead, friends. So here in the first part, I was talking about the power of the lens, about convex and concave lens, and then we just divided that lens into two parts, two spherical surfaces, and then we specifically talk about the power of a single spherical surface, which is given by this formula, where I said P stands for power, R stands for radius of curvature of that spherical surface, and you very well know what mu2 and mu1 stands for. They are the refractive indices basically for the medium and the material of the lens. Let's move ahead then. We consider convex lens, a focal length say f, so obviously it has two surfaces, right? Two bulging surfaces. And we try to separate it out. R1 and R2 would be the radii of curvature of the lens surfaces. And say mu is the refractive index of the material. Then under the given circumstances, how you work out the power basically? The power of the lens then has to be estimated as the sum of powers of its two surfaces. So we have to combine the powers of the two surfaces and we will get the power of the lens in that case. Let's see how we work it out, okay? Interesting step two we followed, you can see. Power of the first surface would be given as P1 equal to mu minus 1 by R1. Why 1? Because the refractive index of air is 1 and mu stands for the refractive index of the material. Therefore, the previous formula gets converted into this type of format. So you can see mu2 is mu over here and mu1 stands for 1 because for air the refractive index is 1. Let's talk about power of the second surface, friend. So power of second surface, if I estimate, so it will be given by P2 equal to, you can see 1 minus mu now. Here 1 will come first because here mu2 is 1 and mu1 is mu, okay, as per the previous formula. Alright, and obviously the radius of curvature is R2. Now, as per our analysis, the power of the lens has to be the sum of the powers of its two surfaces. So what I will do, I will just add these two equations to get the power of lens. So let's see how it happens. You can see power of the lens will be given as P1 plus P2. And when I add these two equations and take the LCM and simplify it, what I get is power of lens will be given as in bracket mu minus 1 and the second bracket resembles 1 upon R1 minus 1 upon R2. Very important formula for power of lens. Please make a note of it. Today we have actually discussed about different types of lenses. Then we did discuss a terminology called as power of lens and we tried to establish equation for power of lens. Yeah. So once you are done with it, please let me know. Okay. Yeah. Hopefully you people are understanding it to perfection. Okay. Anytime you have any doubts, what you can do is you can just unmute and speak straight away there itself, so that things can be discussed then and there itself. Let's not prolong it unnecessarily. So from my side, I'm trying to make it easy and convenient for you people. Okay. Let's see. We have to move ahead now. Again, yeah, okay. So everybody says, Siddhi also says done. But then, see, what we have discussed today, just a brief summary of what we have discussed as of now. We have defined lens, first thing. Second, we have seen different types of lenses like convex and concave lenses. And then we have seen the bifurcation of convex and concave lenses also. These are the things which we have studied. Second thing which we have studied is regarding the power of lens stretch. And we tried establishing an equation for power of lens, okay, with all the terminologies very clear in our mind. So here or henceforth, if we require to use this concept to solve a problem, I believe these concepts would stay there in your mind for longer span of time. All right. Now, after this, let's understand. Now, we have studied about different types of lenses. We know an important parameter like power of lens. Now, the important thing is, where do we adopt this concept of power of lens? So, we use these concepts in applications like simple microscope, compound microscope, and telescope. Out of which, the initial stage, we want to see how we apply these concepts or the lenses basically to a concept of simple microscope. Okay, just give me a moment before I share that slide with you. So let's see what a simple microscope is, okay, and how we apply the concept of lenses to simple microscope. So hopefully everybody is ready for it. So I want attention and high focus because we would be actually talking about few derivations also, small derivations also over here. So can I say it's an optical instrument which uses a single lens or combination basically to produce magnified image of small objects, especially if the objects are too small to be seen by unaided eye. We call such object or instrument as simple microscope. So in practice, you might have seen these type of instruments basically. So we call such instruments as simple microscopes. Please make a note of this before we start discussing the ray diagram for simple microscope, and we will talk about the magnification power of simple microscope. Yeah, so most of you said done. Let's see. So again, I repeat how we define simple microscope. It's an optical instrument that will use lens or a combination of lenses to obviously produce a magnified image of small objects. Okay, so let's move ahead then. So you can see we know a concept called as distance of distinct vision. So DDV it is called as, okay, and it is say 25 centimeters for a normal human eye. So what is this distance of distinct vision? So it's a least distance basically from of an object from eye, so such that when we view it from eye, we can view it without straining the eye. So this particular distance won't strain our eye. Therefore, people say, right, keep the books at say a distance of distinct vision, 25 centimeters away from your eye, so that it does not strain your eye. So we need to understand this. So what is distance of distinct vision? Okay, the first thing to uh, understand this basically. Let's say the second point which one needs to understand is the clarity of image. Now, on what factor this clarity of image would depend? So obviously the image is formed on retina of eye, and it will depend on the angle subtended by the object at the eye. We call such angle as visual angle. So when we bring the object closer to eye, if you realize it, you can try it, practically. You try to bring the object closer to eye, you will find that this angle increases and the clarity increases up to distinct vision. Here onwards, if you try bringing this object very close to eye, then that clarity will also decrease and it will cause strain to eye. Okay, this is something which we need to understand. So there has to be a judicious point where the object is to be kept so that the eye is least strained. That distance we are talking as distance of distinct vision, and it is 25 centimeter for a normal eye. Make a note of this before we actually start working on the ray diagrams of simple microscope. Once you are done with it, please let me know. Yeah, so most of you say yes. So I assume it's done. Okay, so let's move ahead then. Yeah, so let's proceed. So when the distance is less than distance of distinct vision, eye gets strained. This is something which we have discussed. Okay. So how we deal with such problems basically. So a convex lens, we use a convex lens of a short focal length, and you can see the minute details of very small objects also, isn't it? So a magnitude glass or ordinary convex double convex lens having a short focal length is called as a simple microscope. So normally you might have seen these people, okay, watchmakers, jewelers, palmists, electronic technicians, people keep on using this instrument called a simple microscope. So what happens when you place an object closer to such lens? Then its principal focus. So image will be produced, and that image is erect, larger than the original object. That means magnified. Erect and magnified image is being produced. So we have seen how the ray diagrams work for simple microscope. Okay, in the earlier sessions, if you all recall and remember, who attended them. Please make a note of this before we proceed further. Yeah, most of you say done. So let's move ahead then. Let's proceed. Yeah, so it's again an important point which we missed actually. The image which is formed is, if it is erect and magnified, then it has to be virtual, right? As per our ray diagrams. Virtual image cannot be projected on the screen. Real images can be projected. Okay, that's the point which has to be considered when we are studying simple microscope in greater details. Okay, so again, make a note of this last point also. It's equally important. So most of you say done. Let's move ahead then. Let's proceed. Uh, Here comes an interesting concept. Okay, how we work out linear magnification of simple microscope. Or we have studied the power of lens. Now we will try to study what the magnifying power of a simple microscope is. How we work out the magnifying power. So in a way, simple. It's a ratio of visual angle subtended by final image to the visual angle subtended by the object on the eye. So both the things, okay, the final image as well as the object, the rays coming from object as well as the image, they are going to subtend some angle on the eye, and we take the ratio of these angles, we get, angular magnification or magnifying power. So in simple words, you can define magnifying power as the ratio of angles subtended by final image at eye when seen through the instrument to the angle subtended by the object at the eye when the object is held at, very important to be noted, okay, when the object is held at distance of distinct vision and seen directly. Okay, so these two angles which we want to take into consideration, say, for defining magnifying power of simple microscope. Before we get into greater details of it, this is just we have defined a definition for simple microscope, magnifying power of simple microscope. Now we will try to work out equations for this. Okay. Before we do that, please make a note of it and let me know. Yeah. So most of you friends say yes, done. So I assume everybody is done with this. Now we are going to use this definition to actually work out an equation for linear magnification. Okay. So let's see. Linear and angular magnification. Most specifically angular magnification because we are talking in terms of angles over here. Okay, let's move ahead. We are considering an object, say the size is y1. It is placed at distinct vision. Capital D stands for distinct vision from the eye and seen directly. And let's say the angle subtended by this object, which is of size say y1 at eye, is alpha. Hopefully you are able to, you know, visualize this. Okay, this is the angle I'm talking about. Okay, the first statement is talking about this angle made by this object of say size y1, which is placed at distinct vision d from the eye, and the rays are making some angle with eye, and that angle is alpha. So the first angle we got it as alpha. So from trigonometry, if we are okay with trigonometry, tan alpha in this diagram would be given as, according to sign conventions also, you can see tan alpha will be y1. Okay, y1, why it is taken positive? Because you are measuring y1 above the principal axis. So y1 is taken positive. But then why is d taken negative? Because you have measured it from the eye and you have measured it in the direction against the incident ray. So d is taken negative. Okay. So tan alpha will be given by y1 on minus d. But because alpha is very small, I can say tan alpha can be approximated to alpha. So you can say you approximate tan alpha to alpha. And then the same equation which is being shown there becomes alpha equal to minus y1 by d or y1 by minus d to be more specific. Okay, so please make a note of this first equation. So we got the first angle to prepare an equation for the magnifying power of a simple microscope. Please make a note of this and let me know so that we move ahead in this derivation. Yeah, so most of you say yes. So let's move ahead then. So we talked about the first angle, and let's talk about the angle which the image. This is the angle made by the object with the eye. Now we need to work out the angle made by image with the eye. Let's say the same object is placed at distance u. U is less than f and seen through the virtual image is formed at distance say v, and the size of that image is say y2, and you can have a look at it. Okay, very important. Yeah, so here you can see the object was placed here and this object resulted in the image over here. Now the size of the image is y2 and obviously the image distance is b, and this particular image is making some angle, you can see, subtending with the eye, and that is beta. So now we are interested in working out beta. Okay. Once we get beta, we have the equation for alpha. Using alpha and beta, we can find out the magnification power of a simple microscope. So here in this diagram, before I show you the equations, please make a note of this diagram and let me know. Yeah, friends. So hopefully you have noted it down. Okay. So now we know what beta is. Let's move ahead. According to sign conventions, tan beta will be obviously minus y2 by v. Okay. Minus y2 by v. So y2 is not minus, but v is minus. That's why it is minus y2 by v. Again, beta is small, so tan beta can be approximated to beta. So you have the equation beta equal to minus y2 by v. The eye is very close to lens, so you can consider beta as the angle subtended by the image at eye. Observe the diagram carefully, okay, friends. Let's move ahead there onwards, okay. So please make a note of this, and then we will try to play with the two equations, alpha and beta, to get our equation basically. Once you are done with it, please let me know. Okay, so let's move ahead, friends. Here was that diagram. If you observe the two triangles, hopefully you are able to locate these two triangles. A1, B1, P. You can see A1, B1, P and ABP. Okay, so these two triangles. You can see they are similar triangles. Using similarity, can I say A1, B1 upon PB1? Okay, would be equal to AB upon PB. Now we know A1, B1 is Y1 or Y2, sorry, A1, B1. So minus Y2 by V. Whereas AB by PB can be written as minus Y1 by V. U it should be. Shouldn't be V, okay? It's wrongly mentioned over here as V. Ideally, this distance should be U in this case. Okay, so just correct this, okay? This particular term is U. Let this be equation 2. But we all know beta is also given by minus Y2 by V, and it is also given by minus Y1 by U. So from 1 and 2 you can see, you can equate these two. So you know the previous two equations, 1 and 2. Just equate these two equations. Here I said it should be corrected, okay? Instead of V, it should be U as per the diagram. So how we define the magnifying power now? As per our definition, we have defined magnifying power as the ratio of two angles, okay? Beta divided by alpha. So let's put the equations then. It's beta by alpha. It will be minus y1 by u divided by minus y1 by d. Y1 gets cancelled and ultimately you can see it is d by u, friends. Okay, so we got the equation for magnifying power of simple microscope, and that's given as d by u, where d stands for distance of distinct vision and u stands for the object distance, friends. Make a note of it before we move ahead. Yeah, hopefully done. So most of you say done over here. Let's move ahead and let's proceed further. Okay. So case one. Okay. So we know now the equation for magnifying power will be d by u, where d stands for distance of distinct vision and u stands for the object distance. So case 1, say if the image is formed at distance of distinct vision, then for thin lens according to this formula, we all know lens formula, V 1 by V minus 1 by U is 1 by F. We all know this, right? So in this case, both U and V are negative, while F will be positive. Why? Because it's a convex lens we're talking about. And moreover, what is the case of images formed at distance of distinct vision? That means V will be equal to capital D. First of all, both the values for U and V are negative. This is something which we need to know. While F is positive, okay, then V has to be substituted as equal to capital D. So then in this case, you can see it will be minus 1 by D plus 1 by U equal to 1 by F. So if you multiply and divide by D on both the sides, you can see capital D. What you get is, in the first case, D by U minus 1 will be by F. This is just an adjustment, friend. Okay, so check out the adjustment. Okay, I'm just multiplying both the sides by D so that I'm nullifying the effect. I'm keeping the effect of the equation same. So D by U can also be replaced as 1 plus D by F. Now in the previous formula, magnification power was given by D by U, if you all remember. So that D by U can also be replaced as 1 plus D by F, where F stands for the focal length. Therefore, the magnifying power of the lens can also be written as, instead of D by U now, it can be written as 1 plus D by F. Please make a note of it. Very important step. Once you are done with it, let me know. Yes. So most of you say you're done with it, right? So this is the case 1, say when the image is formed at distance of distinct vision D. Let's talk about another case then. Say image is formed at infinity. Now in this case, U will be negative, F is positive, whereas V will be equal to infinity. That's what it means, okay? So 1 by infinity plus 1 by U will be 1 by F as per our lens formula. So 1 by U would be 1 by F minus 1 by infinity. 1 by infinity is 0. So 1 by F minus 0 will be 1 by F. So this is the interpretation which you get. Now again you can multiply and divide by D. Multiply by D on both the sides. So the equation then becomes D by U equal to D by F. So now D by U can be replaced as D by F. So now the formula for magnification power or magnifying power will be, instead of D by U, it will be straight away D by F. Unlike 1 plus D by F when the image was formed at distinct vision. Here the image is formed at infinity fetch. And therefore the formula changes to D by F. So whenever the image is formed at infinity, the magnifying power of simple microscope would be given by capital D by F. If the image is formed at distance of distinct vision, then the magnifying power will be given by 1 plus D by F. Please make a note of it. Once you are done with it, let me know so that I can share the ray diagram with you along with this formula together so that it becomes easier for us to compare both the cases. Okay, so most of you say done. Good. Very nice. So just give me a moment where I can show you the ray diagram for both the cases simultaneously. Here comes that diagram. You can see. So here, when the image is formed at infinity, you can see The magnifying power for simple microscope was given by the formula d by f. This is what we have derived. And if the image is formed at distance of distinct vision friends, then the formula for magnifying power would be 1 plus b by f. So this is the story about simple microscope, the first application of lens.